Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. Today it is a haul. It's a comic book haul from my friend Darren at Splatt Comics. So Darren runs an online store called Splatt Comics. Go and check it out. It's got some great stuff. He's recently uploaded a huge quantity of Marvel comics. However, they weren't a lot of interest to me. Mainly a DC man for my PC. But I did get the opportunity to grab some of his DC comics recently, and I drove up to see him at his house and picked them up a couple of weeks ago. It's a big haul, so I'm going to do a couple of videos about the haul. Now, the first part of the haul, this is all for my PC. Okay, so all the comics you're about to see are going into my PC. So I collect Batman. So when I decided to sell comics, I had to make a decision about what I was going to keep and what I was going to sell. So I've always been a DC guy for many, many years. So I decided that I was going to keep my Batman collection and indeed expand it when I got the opportunity to do so. So Batman includes Batman Detective Comics and Brave and the Bold and all sorts of spin-offs. Anyway, I picked up a whole bunch. Here we go. Of Batman stuff from Darren in this haul, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So it's a combination of Detective Comics and Batman comics. And wait till the end because there is a big comic at the end. Right. So we're going to start with Detective Comics, and we're going to start in around 1975. This is the most recent of these, and there was a big run of Detective Comics, which were 100 pages. So here we go. This is the first one of these. This is a Jim Aparo cover. In fact, quite a lot of these are Jim Aparo covers. This is from 1975. Now, one of the great things about Darren is he grades them and he sticks a grading sticker on them. He generally puts it on the front. I don't like it on the front, so I've taken it off the front, put it on the back. He also does a grading label which tells you what it says. It says 5 millimeter spine tear fray on the bottom spine, VF minus. Well, you can see here this you can just about see what he's talking about. It's a bit difficult. This is in really high grade. I have to tell you, as a Batman collector and a collector of Detective Comics, these 100-page spectaculars, the square bound ones, are difficult to find in high grade. So a VF is quite a high grade for these. Um, Now I do have one or two of these, but these are higher grade than the ones I already have. So all of this stuff is going to be going into my PC. Right, next up, and I do like this cover. This one is also in a very fine condition. This is also a Jim Aparo cover. And this one is from 1974. Again, 100 pages for 60 cents. Yeah, a new shock tale. Batman becomes Bat murderer. Good Lord, Batman, you didn't have to kill her. There we go. Yeah, Batman shooting somebody with a gun. That's very un-Batman-like. Right, next up, we've got the Batman and Manhunter together for the first and last time, question mark. This is number 443. These are a complete run of these 100-page spectaculars, all in really high grade. Now, Darren had a couple of really great finds when he was buying stock for his collection. He bought stock from one of the premier UK comic retailers from the 1960s and 70s. And I think some of these came from that collection because these are in super condition. 442, again, another Jim Aparo cover, again from 1974. And again, it is a 8.0. I mean, some of these, he's written 8.0 on this, to be honest with you. If I sent that off to CGC, I'd be surprised if it didn't come back a bit higher than that. Um, but these comics, they're not even in the high grade, they're sort of $50 comics, so it's not worth spending $50 on getting them graded unless you genuinely think they're a 9.4 or something. And that's I don't think these are. I think they are about an 8.0, 8.5, something like that. This is Detective Comics 441. Again, Jim Aparo, who seems to have got the job here. And we've got some lovely floating heads. We've got Ibis the Invincible. We've got the Spider. We've got the all-new Manhunter, Eclipso, and Plastic Man on the floating heads. Some great B and C list DC characters there on the cover. Right, we then got 440, Ghost Mountain Midnight, and the floating heads this time are Robin, Hawkman, Manhunter, Dollman, and Green Lantern. Again, Jim Aparo cover, again in very fine condition. Next up, and this is not a Jim Aparo cover. This is actually a Neil Adams cover. As such, it is a bit more expensive than the Jim Aparos. Neil Adams being a bit more collectible. And you can see it's a very dark cover, and there are very few spine ticks. Darren, for some reason, has graded this as a fine. Two small tears, top edge, back cover. Really? Okay. I mean, I think he's been a bit harsh on the grading here. Um, I think this is better than a fine. I think it's a fine plus, or maybe a fine, very fine. Okay, number 438. One of the things I like about Darren is his grading is tough. Very rarely do I look at his grade and think he's overgraded it. I usually think he's undergraded it, which is what you want from a comic grader, in my opinion, especially if you're buying comics from them. This one is a Mike Kaluta cover. This is Detective Comics 438. Again, we have this in a fine. Okay, that is the end of the 100-page spectaculars. We have now got issue number 435, which I already had, but I don't think it's in as nice a condition as this. And here we have Dick Giordino doing the cover. And I quite like this style here with the sort of uh, titles down the side here in the same background color as the trade dress. I actually quite like that. And it's a really nice sort of ghost spectre cover. The spook, the spook strikes again. Right, now we've got some old ones here. These are early Silver Age. This is Detective, and these are in lower grade. This is in a good in a 2.0. This is number 311 from 1962. I don't mind having these ones in this sort of grade. I'd rather have a low grade than no grade. And look at that great cover there. Great stuff. And finally, from Detective Comics, we have Detective Comics 301. I think this is Sheldon Moldoff. I think that is a Sheldon Moldoff cover. And this one is a Sheldon Moldoff cover. And this is great. We've got a pink Batman. Again, this is in good, it's from 1962, and it is a Sheldon Moldoff cover. Hadn't got either of those two. So although they are two O's, quite happy to have them in my Detective Comics collection. Right, so moving on from Detective Comics, we move on to Batman. And we're starting off with Batman, and this is a great cover. Batman 273. Now Batman, see Europe and die. So Batman is obviously in Europe, and they appear to have tied him to a giant cannon. Presumably the idea is they fire the cannonball out and it goes through Batman. I'm not sure how practical that is. That is an Ernie Chan cover from 1976. in fine condition. Next up, we've got Batman number 271 um, from 1976. This again is in fine condition, and this is a Dick Giordino cover. Okay, now we're back to the 100-page stuff. Um, this is 100 pages for Batman, issue 256. Um, this is in high grade. This is a very fine condition. I've already got this one, but I think it's in a fine minus. This is in a much higher grade than the one I've already got. And so is this. Oh, I don't think I've got this one. This is actually Neil Adams and Nick Cardy cover art. So yeah, Neil Adams, Nick Cardy cover art here, um, in a very fine condition. This is a quite a pricey comic. So the fair market value of this in an 8.0 is about $80. That's a really nice, very hard to find these square bound 100 pages in this sort of condition. You can find them in a beat up condition and buy them for £5 or £10 very easily, but getting them in 8.0s or higher, very tricky. This one's nice. This is number 254. Again, this is Nick Cardy doing the cover artwork here in 1973. And we've got Man Bat on the cover. Okay, and next up, we've got a big comic at the end. It's only three comics. It's in three comics away. We've got some absolute crackers here from the Silver Age. This is from 1962. It's a Sheldon Moldoff cover. And it's in VG condition. It's in a 4.0. It's a great Joker cover there from Sheldon Moldoff. Had not got that one. Um, very nice. And that's fair market value on that is about $100 as well. Next up, number 154, also in a very good condition, also a Sheldon Moldoff cover. This one is entitled The Strange Experiment of Doctor Doom. There we go. I think it's a different Doctor Doom, guys. This is DC, not Marvel. Great stuff. And then finally, the big comic. It is in a low grade, but I've been after this one for probably 45 to 50 years in some grade or other. And I think this is very presentable. It is Batman number 155. It is the first Silver Age appearance of the Penguin. You can see him there descending from the dragon. It's got a great dragon cover as well. You got the Penguin descending from the dragon on his umbrella. It's a great cover. Um, this is Darren has graded this as a 2.0. It's the first Silver Age Penguin. It's a Sheldon Moldoff cover again. And it is a 2.0, but I've been after this for a long time. This is an expensive comic. Of all these, this was the most expensive one that I bought off Darren, even though it's a 2.0. And that will be going into the PC. In fact, all of these will now go from here to my Batman boxes for me to gloat over every time I want to look at my Batman comics. Right, that is your lot for today. I am going to share with you more comics from my haul from Splatt Comics at a future date. But for now, that's your lot. See ya again soon.